Edge to the flag.
Just one moment.
Sorry.
Caught up again.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, call this meeting to order. President Noyes will not be present tonight, but she is going to be via communication, telephone. So do I hear a motion to go into executive session?
Move to adjourn to executive session pursuant to CRS 24-6-402 or B and E, legal advice on specific legal matters related to special education services and for negotiations and advice to negotiators related to BOCES, MOU, and contract performance.
I'll second.
Wait a minute, it's not finished.
Oh, board, Carolyn Goff, Brad Miller, attorney, Cynthia Eldridge, and Eddie Maris.
Now I'll second.
Who was that last one?
Eddie,
Oh, okay.
any discussion? Okay, I'll call for the question.
Online voting is now available. President Noyes, are you able to vote?
It's not popping up yet, so
Do you say yay or nay?
yes.
Yay.
You.
Yeah.
Mrs. Hart, are you able to vote?
Not yet, so yay.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, we will adjourn to Mr. Burris's office and discuss these items. We will
State the time.
be back. It is, we were adjourning at 6:03, it looks like.
That's right. I would just want to suggest that this is likely a 45-minute discussion, if not maybe even longer. It's going to be a long discussion. So
This is our attorney.
Be aware.
So if you want to run and get a soda, 45 minutes, feel free.
Hello.
Hi, we're getting ready to start the meeting.
Okay, perfect.
Right, let's set the agenda.
The time,
6:09, no, 6:46, I'm sorry.
thank you.
And we just set the agenda.
You moved to set, right now it's 6:50, but we adjourned at 6:46.
Okay, those are two.
We have a motion to set the agenda. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Rice, seconded by Mrs. Hart. Any discussion?
Online voting's now. The noise, are you able to vote?
It's not showing up, no, so I will vote yay.
Yay.
Thank you. Mr. Rice?
I'm gonna I vote aye too.
Aye.
I'm locked out on me.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, approval of the minutes for April 18th, 23. Your motion,
I'll make the motion to approve the minutes.
second.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Wells, seconded by Ms. Hart. Is there any discussion?
Online voting is now available. How do you vote, President Noyes?
I just started, mine just got off mine.
All
Gary, how do you vote?
Yeah,
I started it over because they all
Yeah, mine kicked out,
kicked out.
Yeah, mine did too, and I think
kicked out
Okay,
again.
now, so
No, it went.
Okay, just Mr. Wells.
There we go.
Motion passes unanimously.
approval of minutes for May 2nd, 23 board work session.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for the 5/2/23 board work session.
second,
Motion made by Mr. Wells, seconded by Mr. Rice. Any discussion?
Online voting is available. How do you vote, President Noyes?
yeah,
Thank you. Mr. Wall, did you? Very distance. Passes unanimously.
Thank you. Celebration reports.
Board, I wanted to let you know I did something different with the celebration reports. You actually have some attachments in board docs of some cool things that have been happening across the district.
I saw that.
I would tell you what they were right now, but I can't see them on my screen, but you can.
Hey. Mr. Frazier sent, and he said that we needed to mention that the middle school band concert last Thursday was very good. And he would also like to congratulate Mr. Campo and his team on their accomplishments and national recognition. So. Anybody else? We have the Middle School Music Awards, the Bobby G Award, which was Tyler Jackson and Jeremiah. And oh, shoot, I just did it again.
really nice letter to the bus driver.
Yes, that was the bus driver. That's what I was on right there. Had a near accident, but did a phenomenal job with it, with avoiding it. And we're going to, tomorrow morning, there's going to be a send off for the track team at 8 o'clock as they go to state. Is there anything else?
I have something that I just found out today.
and wasn't able to attach it to your agenda. But we have a real life hero on our staff. On Monday, May 8th, Cliff Littlefield, who works in maintenance, was out working at Lewis Areola. He walked around the building and encountered one of the staff members, our Lewis Elementary School cook. When Cliff saw her, it appears she was in distress. Her face had changed color and Cliff asked if she was choking and she signaled she was. He jumped into action and performed the Heimlich maneuver, dislodging what was stuck in her throat and saved her life.
Fantastic. Woo. That is phenomenal. Thank you.
Yes, I was really excited to hear about that.
Any more? Hey. Student representation.
Yes, so I've had a student at the high school reach out to me and express interest in being a representative for the school board next year. I don't know how you guys like run it, if you guys keep us into the next year, if you guys get new, whatever. Hopefully we can talk about it in a work session or something like that, but he did reach out to me and express interest, so I hope we can talk about that at some point.
That would be great.
Yeah, so we have wrapped up the year. Obviously it's getting close. Everything's starting to wrap up. Our FFA banquet, some of you guys were able to attend. It went really well. We're all sad to hear about Miss Meyer not returning to us next year, but hopefully the new teacher is great as well. Our sports have been doing really well. Baseball has been doing great. They just went to Dalmort today and they won their game.
Oh, good.
And like you said, we are doing the track send off tomorrow. Yeah, I think that's about it.
The band concert, like you guys said, went really well. There was a lot of movement. They had their theater awards night, and there was 40 kids that joined their troop or whatever they called it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and then on Thursday, there's a community engagement night, and then at 6 there's a choir.
So there was also, I forgot to mention, but I did see something, something or another for the thespians in our school. They all did, I don't know exactly what it is, but they did really good at it, and so that was.
They did well anyway.
I think, I don't know. They have like president and like stuff like that, and so kids in the school, I don't know which ones got certain positions, and so that's really cool.
I think that's the Bobby G Awards thing.
Yeah.
Right, mentioned. It's a statewide recognition.
Yeah, see, so yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, you're right.
I started it, I'm sorry.
You got it.
That's why we need that other kid. He is out world. He can help cover all the areas I missed.
Maybe we need two of you.
That's what we were, that was an option.
Yeah, we could do that.
It is an
Coverage,
option.
great.
Well, we'll talk about during our work session. Yeah, we can have a discussion.
Okay.
Mr. Miller.
Thank you, Mrs. Wright. My name is Brad Miller. I'm a lawyer. I work with the district and a lot of districts. And I was down here for this executive session we just had. And we had set on the agenda a placeholder thinking that I might be interacting with the board on a legislative update. This year's legislature was very active and so forth. But given I'm aware it's a palpable energy in the room. I think that there's likely going to be some public comment. I thought I would make a couple of comments about that aspect of a board meeting and just take it for what it's worth. But we sit in a public board meeting, which is a limited public forum. It means that the board doesn't control the content of what is said at the podium. It can control how long and how many people talk and those sorts of things. But it's very circumspect in what it can tell you to not say or to say. And so you have great freedom there. I want to make sure everybody's clear on that. There's a couple of areas that they're able to just sort of limit. So one would be direct personal attacks on staff members or adults associated with the district. So if you've got issues with decisions being made by individuals and so forth, we can talk about our concerns about the decisions, but not about the individuals who made them and their character and the reasons and those sorts of things. That would be inappropriate in this forum. And then anything having to do with students, direct on, invoking students' names, that would be inappropriate in this context. And so if those sorts of things come up, Mrs. Wright might just, gavel and say, excuse me, that's better placed in a different forum. The district does have great grievance resolution processes and policies. People can always access those and use those vehicles to express, those sorts of considerations. We want to make this meeting a place where students can be here safely without being, confronted by those sorts of higher passionate engagements. So I'm hopeful that people will be respectful. This is a great place, though, to express yourselves. I'm glad so many people are here. I'm going to go ahead and not do a legislative update. It looks like I may be back at a summer meeting, at which point I will give you some verbal updates there.
Okay,
Thank you.
right. The next is our superintendent's report. Would you like to give it?
I'll just give a brief
ahead.
summary of it. Won't
Just a
read it
summary,
word
please.
for word.
Thank you.
First of all, Mr. Burris thanks the board for the opportunity to fulfill any family responsibilities he has. Today, he is with his daughter, who is being recognized at a school event. And again, he apologized that he couldn't be here, but is thankful that he has that opportunity. Also, update on the Montezuma County Middle School project concerning the playground, multiple conversations with Christine Fisher on the soonest, but it gives you an outline of how long we're looking at for that repair at middle school. He also visited the campuses in reference to teacher pay and salary scales. He was received well in some of the campuses in reference to that, and he wants to thank the board for their consideration. He's still working on the staffing model at the high school, and he's looking at the middle school as well. We spoke about capping classes at 26, except PE, band, and choir. And then he makes note about our school attorney, Brad Miller, and intensive work is going on now with summer professional development and the lead up of opening the school, working with Mr. Parr and the executive team, and as well are sharing with today our guests from the Colorado Department of Education. And he also attended last week, as I did, a meeting with BOCES in Durango on May the 10th. And that information is where he gave notice to BOCES about the possibilities. Thank you.
Executive Director of Academic Services, Mr. Park.
Good evening, board. I'll try to be brief with my report. I do have some guest speakers that will be addressing the board as well. So within my report, I highlighted a couple areas. I'm going to skip around just a little bit so I can get through those items real quickly. First thing I'd like to address is that our plans are underway for diving into our curriculum alignment and pacing guide work for the summer. I've given you the initial schedule within my report for what that's going to look like. And that is not the final schedule at all, because we get into that work and it's going to be far more extensive than just those few days initially allow, but that's where we're going to get it started. We're going to work with teachers from all different levels throughout the district to put that work together. So I'm excited about it. It's starting to come together, and I'm excited to get that underway so that we can have those pacing documents and curricular maps for all areas of content within our district. So that's taking place, like I said, and I've highlighted again where that touches on our in our strategic plan. The next item that I wanted to go over with you real briefly is grading and reporting. We had a really robust session with our principals talking about grading across the district and what that looks like. And there's some information that I've included in this report. I'm not going to go through everything about what we'll be looking at to be adding to handbooks and using district-wide, mostly because we want to provide a continuity that we haven't had historically. So we're starting with more traditional grading, starting in grade 3 all the way through 12th grade. So that, the current report card for elementary can be a tad confusing in that it doesn't provide probably adequate information for our families about how students are doing. The other component of this is a timeline. All schools will be on semesters next year, whereas in the past we've been on trimesters at the elementary and semesters at the secondaries. Everybody's going to be on a semester schedule this coming next year, and there will be 4 quarters. And at each quarter, we'll have progress reports and then report cards and progress reports and report cards. So that'll give parents opportunities throughout the year to be able to access information if they don't already take that initiative to do so. So we're going to try and step up our communication with that so that there are no mysteries. We don't get into late in the semester and somebody doesn't know that their kid might not be doing well in a class. So that we can be proactive with helping them along versus just waiting for the end and saying, well, sorry, you have to go to summer school. So that's the goal. Let's see. The other item that I want to talk with you briefly about, as Mr. Ramirez mentioned, we are developing a schedule for our professional development moving into next year. There will be a couple of days at the beginning of our return week that are devoted to some district-wide professional development for, it's called depth and complexity. It comes out of the GT world, but really it's about strong differentiation in classrooms so that teachers can meet kids where they are all at. So that's one component. And then we're going to have some more work on ESS. We're going to have a lady, you may have heard the name, her name's Brandy Samuels, who's going to come and give us some more just basic, everybody needs to know type information as we engage with ESS students in our classroom. So good things for us to know at all levels, teachers, principals, etc. So that will be something to look forward to for next year. The last thing that I wanted to address before I turn my portion of the report over to our friends from CDE is assessment. We are at the end of the year, as you guys are all aware, and we are currently in the last STAR testing assessment window of the year. I have some preliminary information that I'm going to share with you here. It's probably not 100% complete because there's still some testing going on, but I think the information that I have here thus far is very encouraging as far as improvements overall. So let me share that with you. You guys can have a look at it. Again, this didn't come into the report because we were still testing and still are testing, but I thought you might like to see a little preliminary information as we're moving along. So this particular report, Brad, would you like to?
Sure, I'd love to. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So the top page of this particular report is STAR results from the fall, and this is for math. Oh, I think we gave you 2 there. Sorry about the staple job. I don't know why that happened, but anyhow, so as you can see, the results on the first page are for the fall. And if you look to the second page, and there's some rudimentary remarks that I put on there just about where we have moved. And the information to the far right is number of students that are at or above the 50th percentile, which is a mark that we consider grade level. And for math, through all of our schools listed there, you can see we combined to grow 12% from where we were in the fall. So that's a really positive move for us. Considering we didn't have data for this in the past, this is something that I think is something that is really good. And not only that we moved up in that category, but also that we dropped in the other categories, which means that those kids are moving in the right direction. So, so that's the initial information for math. And then I have some for reading as well, so.
Thank you.
So in similar fashion, the top page is fall information from where we were at the beginning of the year. And then again, if you'll move to the back page, that's more current information for most of us. We're, like I said, there's a few outliers that are still testing, but in general, we've seen positive movement in the places we need to see it. And that's from my perspective in this work, that's pretty exciting. So yeah.
Well, experiment you gave us. Thank you.
And then we'll have more, in coming meetings here in June, we'll have some more final information about this. And we should be looking forward to our state testing information coming up in the summer as well.
So, Mr. Parr,
Yes.
I was reading the staff minutes and
Mhm.
elementary teachers are saying that they need more time at the beginning of the school year. Are we addressing that or is that a principal issue? It's not a board issue. I agree.
Understand. So it's, time is never our friend in this work, right? I mean, everybody's always needing more time. And I think what we're seeing is traditionally or typically what we like to do at the beginning of the year is have some time for district level professional development.
Right, which we need.
And then some time for teachers to prepare. In years past, depending on initiatives that we have in the district, a lot of that teacher time gets consumed with those other priorities. I would say this year, we don't have a ton of new initiatives. Our professional development is around things that are probably already or should be embedded in classrooms and work. So hopefully it's not as heavy a lift in that regard. But it's trying to strike that balance. I mean, if we wanted a longer year, more days.
Right,
then
and that was what I was wondering. But they can come in early if they choose to,
Of course.
just not an assigned day.
Yeah, I mean, I think we know what commitments that teachers make and that
Absolutely.
they're here often on weekends and throughout the year. So that's, wonderfully commendable. It's not something that we actually have in our calendar.
Right, well, we can't count.
I mean, I think we can always work to try and strike a better balance there. Right now, we're looking at 2 days of district level professional development, maybe a day of campus meetings and initiatives, and then 2 days in the classroom. So that's about where we're at as far as equity.
That's about what we've had in the past,
Yeah.
isn't it? Okay, thank you.
Okay, so finally, the last part of my presentation is the first item in the report. Actually, it's district diagnostic review and accountability and grants. And Andy Swanson and Lindsay Jackal are here from Colorado Department of Education to talk a little bit about some of the work. We have partnered with them to more or less do a diagnostic review of the district. And for the last day and a half or so, they have been here meeting with different people, different stakeholders, just to talk about things in the district and help us kind of design a map or report for things that we want to get working on in the future. So they are here to tell us about that.
Great, thank you, Jim. Appreciate it. Good evening, board. It's good to see. I think I know most of you, if not all of you. At this point, my name is Andy Swanson, as Jim said. I work in accountability pathways for CDE. And very specifically, I'm your main point of contact for school and district improvement efforts that at the state level. So very happy to be able to take this opportunity while we're on site to be able to talk to you all, answer any questions you have, give you a few updates on some things. I'm joined here by my colleague Lindsay Jekyll, who will start our case.
It's wonderful to see you all board members. It's been a wonderful day and a half, getting to visit with schools and with the teacher groups and just get to know the district, and we're grateful to be here. So we'll give an update a little bit at the end of our visit here, but we wanted to go back and just set a foundation of where the district is in our accountability clock structure at CDE. and what supports and resources are available. So we're regrounding in that process. So we'll talk a little bit about our accountability status and some grants and CD supports at the end. So this slide shows the school performance frameworks for the district and each of the schools. The district is on top and the schools are all listed below. The left-hand column is the school performance frameworks from 2019. And the middle column is from 2022. And our school performance for the district, our school performance frameworks are made up of your state CMAS or at the high school level, PSAT, SAT, the graduation and dropout rate is how schools and districts receive those performance frameworks. The color coding shows the bottom two performance categories, which is what we call on the clock. So those red and orange indicators, there's a uniqueness with gray this in 2022. Those show the schools and districts that are in the bottom two performance categories on the state rating. This year was unique with sort of the pause in CMAS testing from COVID. Not all schools had enough students test to have enough data to produce a performance framework, and that's why you see those gray frameworks there. This slide, I was like, who's this slide the next one shows that the district as a whole is in priority improvement at year 2, which means it's had 2 consecutive years of those bottom 2 ratings. And the district as a whole has 5 schools on the accountability clock.
Not working.
It's not working.
Now you might have to click back into it.
While they're doing that, do you count charter schools as one of us in all of this?
Yeah, so you receive a performance, the performance framework for any school that the district authorizes, including your charter schools.
Okay. Thank you.
Technology. So the schools that are on the accountability clock, we'll just talk through it for a second. Our Battle Rock, Kemper, Mesa, which Andy will talk a little bit more about Mesa here in just a second, the Montezuma-Cortez Middle School, Kiva, and SLOS. And they're all in various years on the accountability clock. If we click to the next slide, what we wanted to talk about is as districts and schools progress on the accountability clock, there are more supports and resources available to them. So any school or district that's on the clock has access to a support partner like Andy, has access to some grants from CDE, which you all have taken advantage of. And that support increases over time. So Andy will talk about Mesa here in a second, but we wanted to share with the district that beginning in year 3, that's when there are other opportunities for, say, a community meeting for stakeholders to learn more about a school's data and give input on the school's improvement plan. Those things really kick off in year 3. And currently there are the district and a number of schools are in year 2. So if these upcoming August performance frameworks come back prior to their turnaround, we'll have a few sites that move into year 3, and that'll be another opportunity for us to have a conversation about school performance and gather stakeholder input on what you hope to see happen at some of those schools. And then beginning in year 5, this is what Andy will talk about, is when our state board intervenes. And when you all as a district and a local board engage with our state board around a plan for accountability. So I'll have Andy talk through that.
Thanks, Lindsay. So I just want to take a minute to just ground in the kind of unique situation as far as the district goes that Mesa Elementary finds itself in. We've been having many conversations with district leadership as well as school leadership on some of those things. When it comes to Mesa Elementary specifically, there really is 2 pathways that are going to happen based on the 2023 school performance framework. If Mesa's school performance framework comes back as either performance or improvement, then they will completely exit the accountability clock and they will no longer be on the clock, and they would be improvement or performance. If they were to get priority improvement at a future SPF, they would go back to year 1. If they do have a priority improvement or turnaround as their plan type in 2023, that will take them through an accountability hearing next spring. With that, we'll walk through that a little bit, but it really is kind of that binary choice on that SPF specifically. What will happen in the scenario is if they get a priority improvement or turnaround plan type, will be kind of this flow chart that you see up here, which is that a school or district that is on the clock for its 5th year, according to state statute, must come before the state board for an accountability hearing for their pathway action. The board will consider the commissioner's report. So we put together a CDE, a factual report of all the things that have happened in the district, our evaluation of the district's plan for the school. There's also the state review panel report that we'll talk about in a second. The state review panel has already been out to Mesa about a month, actually almost 2 months ago at this point. We'll talk about what that said, and they will consider the district proposal and what they, as they come up with what the pathway would be for Mesa Elementary. Then they will direct an action to you as the local board to enact at the school site for the starting in the 24-25 school year. Hard to believe that's already where we're heading at this point. It was a little too soon for that. And then we will continue to provide progress monitoring as well as supports and accountability as long as the school has a state board directed action. Within that, they will have a state board directed action until fully exiting performance watch, which takes now statute 2 consecutive years of improvement of performance frameworks within that. Those options that are available to the board, they say, and we also say, are pretty blunt tools at their disposal. You can see for district-run schools on the left, which would be Mesa Elementary School. We left the center being just charter school actions as well as district level actions for your information, knowing that the district as well as some of your charter schools may be heading into year 3 and then maybe need to start considering some of those actions. You can see on that left-hand side, there are some options. The new one that I wanted to highlight that hasn't been around except this last legislation that the legislature added is the bottom one, which is conversion to a community school. You can see that management by a public or a private entity, which could include full management or partial of specific aspects of the school. I can talk to that again in a second as well. Innovation status for the school, school closure, conversion to a charter, or again, conversion to a community school. The state board does not consider these all as equal or in absence of what the district decides. I'll say frankly, most of the time when the state review panel lines up to the district proposal to what CDE says is the right kind of plan, the state board goes along with that as long as it seems to be something that would improve student outcomes. They desire that to be the case. They think that local actions tend to be the ones that have the best outcomes for students. That's the majority of the times in which that happens within that. I said that part of what they consider is the state review panel's report, but we thought that was important to bring up tonight because the state review panel did just visit Mesa and did just finalize their report on what they believe about the school. The state review panel, as you can see, is comprised of Colorado educators who are not associated with the district, not associated with CDE, but are practitioners who come in and do a site review, look at data, look at improvement plans, and from their perspective, then write a report as to what do they see as the strengths and challenges within the school, and then therefore make a recommendation of what they think would be a possible pathway that the district should consider.
And the report is attached in the board report.
Okay.
So you have copies.
Thank you.
If you don't want to read the entire, I believe, 40-page report right ahead, there is a 2-page executive summary. I always thank the state review panel for that. It leads you to what you need to know right up front. And we'll provide some high-level overview for everyone right now as well. With that, but the report does give some really good insights into things at school from the state review panel's perspective. So they, like I said, the visit happened in March at Mesa Elementary School. The state review panel recommended management by a private or a public entity other than the district. This could mean full or partial. From the way I read the report, it seems to be leaning toward a partial management that supported, as you can see, areas of focus that were highlighted by the state review panel, being behavior management and school culture, systems for observation and feedback and corresponding professional development, and leadership support and change management. As a reminder for those of you who were around in 2017-18, and then just the information for those of you who were not, this is not the first time the district has gone through this process. The district itself, as well as Manoa Elementary School, went through, had the state review panel come, went through a state board directed action, actually had partial management very similar to this as the state board directed action, which did result in the district and the school getting off the clock for, at that time, 1 year was needed to be able to reset the clock. Now it's 2, but this is not the first time that this has happened. And we see very similar what they're
When you say outside, University of Virginia
would be an example.
would be an example.
Yeah,
Okay.
yes. I would say.
Did that before.
And if you look at the report specifically mentions that the district may want to consider and has mentioned the possibility of the University of Virginia or Relay Graduate School of Education or some similar entity that could help with these three specific areas. We have had initial conversations with district and school leadership about those and other possibilities to start brainstorming what options might be within that. Along with that, those next steps, we will continue to work with school and district leadership to develop a strong improvement plan for this upcoming school year, even though you will not have state board direct action this upcoming school year. Everyone we've talked to, obviously, community, teachers, school leaders, district leaders, you all as board members, want the best possible for Mesa students for the next school year, not wait for what the state board directed action will look like. We also always highly encourage moving forward with what plan is best for students that might then fit into a pathway plan later on. We always find it better to come before the state board with something that's in motion that might already be showing results. Maybe not in student achievement, but in staff culture, implementation, those kinds of things are always strong and always help students at the same time within that. And we are working on researching possible pathways with the district, providing opportunities for them to connect with different organizations that may be helpful and beneficial within some of this work.
Andy, may I interject and also say that we're working with the Colorado Department of Education of the possible partial management beginning this summer to jumpstart it quicker and instead of waiting for the results.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. Yes.
Be proactive instead of reactive.
Yeah.
That's right.
We need that.
That's right. And I'll say I've been, and I think Lindsay would echo this as well, very impressed with how district leadership, school leadership, teachers and staff have reacted to the need to like, okay, let's further buckle down. It's been difficult years. We all know for Mesa Elementary, and everything. I was very excited for the staff's perception to the ability to be able to think about it moving forward, how they can engage their new running student body in a different way to help support all of its students better. So we're very excited actually for what the future might bring to Mesa. One last thing before getting to some kind of preliminary things from what Jim talked about is the district diagnostic review we've been here for, is current awarded grants we thought could be helpful for this team to look at. So we have our school improvement grants that that come out as an application in the fall. Once school performance frameworks come out, the district can apply for. They are notified in January and then funding starts in February for some of those possible school improvement opportunities that could be utilized by school and districts that are either state or federally identified. As Lindsay noted, the district has taken quite a bit of advantage in a very thoughtful and targeted way of some of these school improvement grant opportunities. The current grant opportunities, I lost that on my clicker again. Oh, there we go. So close. There we go. The current opportunities from our school improvement grant funding that the district has taken advantage of, you can see right up there. So Mesa Elementary has an accountability pathways planning and implementation grant that is to help them plan for those possible pathways that we were just discussing. They will also be eligible if they do if they do end up going before the state board next year, they'll be eligible for $100,000. We're working on raising that, but at least $100,000 to implement whatever that plan would be that the state board would direct action from state funding. The district is district strategic planning and implementation grant that we'll talk about here in a second. That's why we're on site today. Southwest Open School has a district design led grant, which is basically more of it's not a canned program, but it's for a site to submit evidence-based research possibilities for them to improve specific areas of their school based on a previous diagnostic review. So you'll see district design and led, even though those are charter schools, it means that they have evidence base that they've that's more of a tailored support for them. So for SWOs, there's to improve attendance and engagement at the school, Battle Rock for family partnerships and coaching specifically around math, at Kiva for improvement supports to continue the work with growing minds. And then you all at the school board have governance for school improvement training that's going to be starting off that we're very excited that you are opting into that support specifically around how do you best support school improvement efforts as a board. Yeah. So finally, on the district review, we don't have a slide for because we have been feverishly working on this review for the last 36 hours. We come on site when it comes to district reviews as former school and district leaders and those who see things across the state. And what we do is try to interview a wide range of stakeholders. So we talk to a lot of teachers and staff. We talk to most of your school leaders. We talk to some of you. We ever talked to at least a couple of parents. We did a staff survey that went out anonymously to look at. We looked at parent survey data. We looked at improvement plans, your strategic plan, and go, okay, from our seat, if it were us, what are the strengths we see within the district? And then what are the 2 or 3 areas that we would prioritize moving forward based on that as a support for the district, and you all to then wrestle with and go, what fits with what we want to do? And then we help with some implementation and action planning support and follow up. So we have been between interviews feverishly like writing and figuring out and talking and debating what are some of those areas to focus on. And we will be finalizing a first draft of a report tonight after this to share with district leadership tomorrow morning, that then they'll be able to share more broadly once we completely finalize that aspect. But we wanted to share at least a few points for you all to consider, some highlights while we're here right now tonight. So the first one, virtually all stakeholders named student achievement as the #1 priority for their work in the district across the board. #1 priority. Digging a little deeper in that, the goals and action steps associated with improving that student achievement really lack alignment and clarity across groups. The district would really be well served to continue to build off the priority you currently have in your strategic plan around academic success, with more description of the strategies that will raise student achievement across the district and accompanying action steps and benchmarks. So I think you're really well tailored to do some of that next step work. The district strategic plan also names partnering with the community to elevate and value education as a main priority. The stakeholders across the district indicated a strong desire to build coalitions, communication, and transparency in a multitude of areas. Multiple stakeholders, both in person and in staff surveys, indicated a lack of consistent communication across the district, and that their voices were either not solicited or felt that they were ignored at times. In order to build communication across the district and continue to build trust and strong collaborative environment in service of student success, the district should consider strengthening its two-way communication protocols around identified short and long-term goals tied to what we were talking about, academic achievement, and that focus the efforts across the district for a long period of time. And then finally, school leaders are well regarded across the district and perceived as a stabilizing force even when things get difficult. The school leaders overall are relatively inexperienced in their positions and could become a powerhouse team with some targeted professional learning and regular on-site coaching for their work, especially focused around the work for a strong vision of instruction for the district. So that gives you just a little high-level overview of some of the things that will come out in that report. We don't do 30, 45-page reports. We're pretty back of the napkin kind of people. Like, let's get you what you need to know. And so that's why we'll be able to hopefully turn out a draft of that to you in the next 12 hours, I think, with that. So that is what we have. If there are any questions of our information as well, but we're very thankful for the work that we get to do here. And every time we're down here to be able to talk with people, and you can tell the energy and efforts that are really focused on how do we raise the achievement levels for our students, and for welcoming us in and all the work the district leadership does. Thank you all.
You guys also have this PowerPoint in your report as well, so their contact information.
I would like to thank you for coming down and interviewing us and talking to us. And there is a light at the end of the tunnel. So thank you very much. Okay. Human resource.
Good evening, Board of Education members and Assistant Superintendent Ramirez. I'm pleased to present my board report and associated document for our board meeting this evening. First of all, I would like to address the salary schedule that it is attached to your report that we discussed at the May work session. There have been 2 recommended changes made since that work session. One being on the coaching and assignment salary schedule. There are no financial increases on this page. However, we have made adjustments to the columns, and I would like to add one additional adjustment. In category 1, I've listed MCHS drama. And then on category 4, I have MCMS drama. I would like to move delete category 4's MCMS drama And then remove MCHS under category 1 and just leave drama. So both the middle school and high school drama department leads will be under category 1. As you can see, since the last work session, we've addressed the coaching and assignment salary schedule and rearranged several of the positions added. And I'd like to thank Mr. Rice for his assistance in obtaining additional information where it was needed for changing this on this schedule. Would also like to address the coordinator and director salaries schedule page. On the work session, there have been additional steps added to that schedule, and this was in lieu of 2 directors who are on their 29th year here and have not received an increase since 2015. However, it did provide an unjust amount of years, so we returned it back to the way it was, and there's no financial additions on that page either. So it's in alignment with our principal salary schedule as well. Those are the only 2 additional changes that have been made or returned since our work session. Moving on to the resignation and retirements. Please see the consent calendar for resignations and retirements, and also for new hires, promotions. Staff who resign will be receiving an exit survey. Those will be sent out tomorrow after the consent calendar is approved. And an invitation for either an in-person or phone interview if they desire. Unfortunately, in the past month, there have been no responses to the exit surveys that have been sent out for the April consent calendar. Our openings and vacancies, the district is working with schools to forecast openings for next year based on known resignations or retirements, enrollment and staffing projections. Please see attached for a summary of the non-instructional vacancies for the upcoming year. And as detailed in the consent calendar today, our recruiting efforts for the 2023-24 school year have been quite successful. Campus administrators as well as department directors have been quite busy filling openings for the next school year. With the approval of the 2023-24 salary schedule, Montezuma-Cortez School District RE-1 salaries will be quite competitive and will also make a huge difference in the retention of our current staff. We've also started summer school recruitment efforts and have included an online survey to all current staff, in-house flyers, providing a timeline and payment details, and positions have also been posted on Talent Ed for out-of-district recruitment. The district has also contracted with Vocal Vision for the 2nd year of supported ESS services. Our Vocal Vision employees have been instrumental in added coverage for IEP writing and mentorship for new ESS teaching staff. Moving on to our current staff, a letter of intent was provided to employees who were approved on the recommended rehire list. Once the 2023-24 salary schedule has been approved, contracts and notice of assignments will be generated for each employee. I do want to make a note that the district has received James Grierson's resignation for the Executive Director of Finance. Mr. Grierson recognized the amount of time this position requires in order to be successful and respectfully resigned. In an effort to continue operations, Melissa Bruner has been contracted along with Kyle Archibald to provide financial oversight and business management. And an additional position is being recommended for approval on the consent calendar for the for a business and accounting office. This individual will provide much needed assistance in the business office, and I have included a detailed job description with the requested position for your review. Moving over to report of our current insurance and benefits. For SIDSIT, the district has completed the renewal application for the 2023-24 liability coverage through the Colorado School District State Insurance Pool, and will receive the updated contractual documentation by the end of this month for budget purposes. And then for our Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield, all plan documents have been uploaded to the district HR website page and can be found listed for each coverage. Additional information such as the wellness program, mental health resources, and telehealth networks are also listed for ease of access on the HR page. And then finally, I will be coordinating a health fair to be held at the beginning of the 2023-24 school year for all staff participation. Southwest Health Systems, Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield, Sun Life, and USI will be involved in providing services. I will also invite local businesses the opportunity to meet with staff and sponsor activities such as gym memberships, healthy lifestyles, outdoor activities, and even organic food samples. It is my intention to provide wellness opportunities for all of the staff to make next year very successful. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. Thank you.
Any questions? Okay, board reports.
Thank you, Cindy.
Anybody have anything? I have legislative information if you want to hear it. I will skim through it very quickly. Senate Bill 23-287, school finance, the base for PPOR will be $8,076.41. It's up between 9 and 10%. 180 million BS factor is on the buy down. 30 million will go to rural schools for a one-time. In other words, we can't use it for salaries. Capital construction, 159 million to best. 15 million state ed fund will be added. 10 million royalties from the state land will be added. 49.7 million will be used to help finish best projects. In other words, things that started and we ran out of money. I'm trying to skim through this very quickly. Math and pre-K and 12 has been passed, so we will be getting new information out for that. I think that's probably most of it. But I did receive something today that I found interesting. Let me find it here. Let's see. It tells about our funding. I can find Montezuma. Here we go. Montezuma. We have total lost revenue from 09 to 24 is, I just lost Montezuma again. Anyways, 31 million. $31,729. $31,729,412 that we have lost. Just to kind of give you an update on why we always say we don't have the money. We've lost that much on them balancing off of school kids. It's the way they balance, the state balances their budget. Anything else?
be a county rural roundtable this Tuesday at noon. Wants to get in on that? It's gonna be really good.
They are, and you can, board, if you don't like what they're talking about, there's always that little box for you to say what you want to talk about when you sign up. I had a meeting with Minkus last night and reminded them of that. So, anything else? Hey, moving right along, citizens address the board. Do we have any takers? We do. Let me just touch on what Mr. Miller said. Please listen and speak with respect. If you have personal attacks, I will ask you to leave. It's all on this paper that you signed. Please do not discuss any specific student who is not your own. In other words, don't mention a name. Please do not discuss confidential personnel matters, including those of disciplinary nature regarding any Montezuma-Cortez RE-1 employee. If you want to discuss this, it should be with the superintendent or the employee's supervisor. Please self-monitor and observe the 3-minute time limit. There will be no sharing of time. Public commentary and dialogue is only guaranteed during the public forum, so this is your one chance. Please search for answers on common ground. You may speak on any topic, whether it is on the agenda or not. Your input will be taken into consideration. However, the board will not respond to you. We do listen, we write down, we talk about it, but we do not respond to you during a board meeting. Please be advised that the board may discuss your issue during the meeting, but by law, the board cannot take action on the items. That's not on the agenda. For the safety of yourself and others, signs and placards are not permitted. So leave your signs out. And I'm going to add one more. If you have something to say, feel free to say it. But if we get in where you're just repeating what somebody else has said, I will ask you to sit down and let somebody else speak, because we only have 3 minutes per person, 1 hour for the group. So the first person, Shelby Curtis. Some handout paper point. Great. Oh, it's Shelley Curtis. I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's all right. Good enough. When I was looking at the district policies that the school board has enacted, I see that student organizations open forum, that it was changed to lunch period is considered non-instructional time. And when I went to the CDE website, I looked at this school district. You have this page, the school district calendar and instructional hours guidance. And on page 7 of that, it says that there are some requirements. It says the district is responsible for defining teacher pupil instruction and teacher pupil contact and what may be considered in calculating the hours within an instructional day. However, there are some requirements set by state statute and board rule. And one of these requirements is lunch is not part of the instructional day. And so it says that 1 CCR 301- whatever. So I went to that page, and that says teacher pupil contact and teacher pupil instruction means the time when a pupil is actively engaged in the educational process of a district. Each local board shall define educational process. Definition may include any work study time provided under the supervision of a certified or licensed teacher, but shall not include any time provided for lunch. So I'm just wondering if we are in violation of the CDE rules on what is and is not considered instructional time. And so I was concerned about that.
Thank you. Garrett Watkins.
Thank you, Board. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Jared.
Just a moment, let's get the time set, otherwise you're going to be cut short. There you go.
For those of you who don't know me, I'm Jared Watkins. In my 7 years at MCHS, I've taught science, health, physical education. I've coached baseball, track, and football. This year has been an amazing and unprecedented year for sports at MCHS between football, baseball, girls soccer, and our track team. As a coach at MCHS, I sign my contract every year, realizing that the amount I am compensated is well below what is paid at other schools in the region. After 6 seasons of coaching football, I grossed $3,000 this year, while assistant coaches in Shiprock are paid $6,900. Football head coaches in Shiprock make $9,000, while our head football coach maxes out at $3,800. We coach because we love coaching and we love our kids, not to get rich, obviously. The least our coaches should expect from exhausting hours with minimal pay is support for themselves and their athletes. Neither receive the support. I walked our outdoor practice field with Mr. Burris and Ms. Wright in the fall. Both admitted that the conditions of this field are a hazard to the students and athletes that use this field due to intermittent grass patches and incongruences in the surface of the field. During the same interaction, I showed Mr. Burris and Ms. Wright a spot in which our maintenance department had poured concrete through a hole in the middle of a practice field. Mr. Burris said that maintenance would take care of it that day. Maintenance did take care of it that day. They broke the concrete out and poured pea gravel in the hole. They then placed 2 pieces of sod on top of the pea gravel. Here's a picture of it. As a coach, this is frustrating and alarming. Could you imagine if a student had tried to plant their foot on pea gravel covered with an air piece of sod? There are only 2 explanations for this repair: malicious negligence or gross incompetence. As Mr. Burris said in his last address to the Journal, our students deserve better. I understand that the board has approved $37,000 to repair this field. I watched our maintenance department spread grass seed on this field 3 weeks ago in a 15-mile-per-hour wind that blew the seed into the desert. A field in which the water has not been turned on yet. Why are we spending money spreading seed on a field that's supposed to be leveled and repaired, especially when the water isn't turned on? This is a year-to-year maintenance cost. Will this now be taken from the $37,000 that was approved to fix this field? Our high school hosted the IML regional track meet this year. The task of preparing our stadium was completely placed on our track coaches. Our maintenance department provided no support in painting lines or preparing the stadium for a regional track meet. Our maintenance department would not even install the jump boards that our district spent $1,000 to replace, nor would they allow the coaches to replace them. Rather, the athletes jumped from weathered 2x4s because maintenance didn't have the time to do it. These track coaches that organized and prepared an entire track meet are the same coaches that were accused of misusing funds by Mr. Burris when traveling to a track meet in Chandler, Arizona, an unfounded accusation that was even supported by certain board members. One of these coaches was Bob Archibald, who was taught and coached in this district for almost 50 years. Another is Jeremy Yarbrough, who has monetarily supported this track team for well over a decade and has also financed numerous fundraisers to support multiple activities throughout this district. Our coaches deserve better.
Thank you. Your time's up. And Minga? Is that how you say it?
Pretty close. I don't normally do this, and I'm not as good a public speaker as you are, so just bear with me. Good evening, board. My name is Dan Taniga. I'm a teacher at the high school and a parent of 2 students at the mid school. I have been teaching in the district at the high school for 7 years, and before that, I taught in New Mexico for 10 years. When I was in my first year teaching, I had a meeting with the school district's personnel director, who was a mentor for me and had been a teacher and principal for a really long time. He told me that as long as I was reflective about my teaching and what I did to help students learn, that I could become a good teacher or a great teacher. And I tried to do that every day or every week or at all times. What decisions I make in the classroom, think about how they're going to help the kids. Most of this school year has been a fresh breath air at the high school. And into my teaching career, our school and our students. Our principal took a difficult situation at the last minute and changed the whole culture of the school for the better. Ms. Moreland and her admin team improved discipline, improved teaching methods of the teachers, improved professional development, improved class options that the students could take, and improved his student engagement. Then she was fired for standing up for her students. Since that day, students and staff have felt betrayed. Students' voices are ignored and stifled. Staff are afraid to speak up for themselves and for their students. We are trying to finish out the school year with pride in our accomplishments and hope for an even better year next year, but we can't. Our accomplishments are being overlooked, and we are anxious about bigger class sizes, fewer class options, a lack of support, and teachers not being allowed to come back. Our students deserve better. They deserve support, reassurance, and a conversation about why their school year was turned upside down. Staff deserve at least that conversation, and our superintendent has avoided multiple opportunities to talk to us. The only communication has come through 2 opinion articles in the journal, and these were full of lies and half-truths. As I try to, not fully, as I try to get past my anger and about unjustly losing the best principal I have known and control my anxiety about having the opportunity to teach my son's class next year, I have been reflecting and trying to understand how the changes being imposed on our school are going to help student learning and positively impact the learning environment. I can't see a positive impact for them. The changes that I see are going to negatively impact the student learning and the student environment at our school. If you, as a school board, want to improve student learning and student achievement, you must hold your district administration accountable for every decision they make, taking into account the students' achievement and the students' student learning for each of those decisions. Thank you.
Thank you.
And
You're doing this, I will ask you to leave. We cannot have you disrupting the board meeting. Thank you. The next one, I'm not sure, Carmen?
It's correct.
Current?
Correct.
Sander?
Yeah.
Okay.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Corinne Sander, and I am here as a concerned parent on behalf of teachers and staff of our district. This past year, our teachers and staff have worked very hard to recover from the COVID world. Unfortunately, they have been forced to deal with obstacles put in their way by our current district administration. District admin has done very little to support, but have met the staff with hurdles and a lack of collaboration. This admin has focused on pushing dress codes instead of fixing the ongoing bathroom issues at the middle school. Our admin has tried to stop parent volunteers from activities. And only after a great concern from our teachers did they okay the parents, but they required extra paperwork for background checks for parents to even just donate food. And I asked why our district didn't use the Raptor system that we already have in place. Our admin is planning to get rid of all minibuses, requiring all activities to use full-size buses, even if there were less than 12 students participating. This is a huge waste of fuel and puts a strain on our already taxed busing staff. Admin claims it is a safety issue coming down from CDE, but no, we have talked to CDE directly and they said the only concern was 15-passenger vans, not the minibuses. Our admin did not trust staff records when the 740 accounts were completely messed up from the beginning of the school year. Our teachers were later told all account spending needed to be done by April 7th, 7 weeks before the end of the school year. Our admin sent out emails to parents falsely accusing teachers of inciting students to protest. Within this email, this admin also promised to investigate teachers. Our admin did nothing to protect our teachers. A teacher was threatened over voicemail by a parent she didn't even know. The parent said that they would come down to the school and have a problem with her. The teacher felt threatened enough to seek a restraining order. Instead of supporting the teacher, upper admin showed up at the court in support of the parent who verbally abused and threatened her twice through voicemails. Upper admin even publicly shamed his teacher in his letter to the journal. These are just a few of the examples that we have been facing as spouses who are teaching and friends of our staff. Good jobs are not the jobs that pay the best, but are the jobs where there are good relationships. Teachers and staff work hard to build relationships with the students so that their education is well-rounded and raises up good community members, not just kids who test well. Teachers who love this community more than the paycheck are afraid to speak up in fear of losing their jobs. Teachers who are completely fed up with the lack of respect and support are leaving in droves. My hope and prayer is that our community will rally in support of our teachers and staff, and that you, the board, will see the value of small town family community and listen to them. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is JJ Lewis.
It is starting now.
All right. Good evening. My name is JJ Lewis and I'm a resident of Montezuma County and have two children in RE-1 school district, as well as one who graduated a few years ago. I'm a licensed clinical social worker and psychotherapist who works in both the public and private sectors. I'm here to express my concern over the failures of the board and the failures of your superintendent and to demand his immediate resignation if he had the courage to be here. I would like to address the ineptitude that is irrefutable. In the state of Colorado, we are the third lowest performing district. That's the third lowest out of 178 districts in Colorado. And that is the board's responsibility. The literacy rate at our elementary school is abysmal. I recently spoke even with a high school English teacher who remarked that his freshman and sophomore class can barely read the textbooks, and he has to show them movies of the literature he's supposed to be teaching. Regarding your strategic plan about well-being and attendance, just look at Mesa Elementary, look at CDE. The kids there in the hallways and gymnasiums, the temporary modular classrooms that you promised, where the heck are they? The attendance level under Mr. Burris has actually gotten worse under his archaic and unhelpful policies. There's high levels of disorganization throughout the schools. The superintendent is firing administrators and teachers, leaving students without appropriate educational opportunities. And as a community mental health provider, I've been called out to the schools myself and spoken at length with administrators, teachers, and professional staff who are feeling paralyzed, being unable to safely and adequately manage the needs of the students. There's an epidemic of depression, self-harm behaviors, suicidal ideation throughout all of our schools. The school social workers and counselors, as well as teachers and support staff, are completely overwhelmed and unable to manage this safely. The kids are in danger. You have a mass exodus of teachers and administrators, high level of resignations, as you know, and a recent incredible stroke of terminations or threats made by your superintendent. Teacher salaries are the lowest in Colorado. Colorado ranks 47th in the nation, and the average starting teacher salary is about $45,000. Here it's about 30. Staff who I've interviewed and talked to refer to the superintendent as, quote, Burris the bully, as he has created a culture of fear, intimidation, retribution, and abuse. Teachers are afraid to speak out against Mr. Burris and his unethical conduct. He's firing staff who disagree with him. Staff and administrations speak of his sheer impotence in implementing any successful policies. In terms of loss of revenue, Burris has a $150,000 salary for 11 days per month. That's over like $1,000 per day. You provide him with a private vehicle, a large diesel truck, a gas card. You have to add respectfully an assistant superintendent to cover his absences. He's grossly incompetent, Mr. Burris is, per the state standards. He willingly departs from quality standards of education. He acts in a manner evidencing clear and substantial lack of knowledge and fitness.
Okay, your time is up. Thank you.
So I will demand that Mr. Burris step down immediately.
Excuse me?
He's an embarrassment to yourself
The time.
and our great community.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Kendra Brewer. Kendra? Okay. Reese Smith.
You are absolutely intolerable.
Reese Smith.
Thank you for having me. I just have a couple of questions and I will be out of here. So why is the superintendent pay 1.2 instead of 1.0? If the superintendent is working over the 40 hours, then shouldn't every teacher be on 1.2? Almost all teachers I know work past contract hours. All school districts our size only have a superintendent. Why does Cortez have assistant superintendent? Wasn't the original plan to only have one superintendent once the interim superintendent role was filled? On the school website, the school salary for superintendent and assistant superintendent is anywhere from $90,000 to $114,000 based on years of experience. Why is that money not going towards substitute, long-term substitute, paraprofessionals, teacher assistants, coaches, lunch cafeteria workers, bus drivers, and janitors? People that help keep the school running and that every school is desperate need of. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Robert.
Thank you, school board members, central admin, and guests. I'm just going to invite you guys to Mesa's gallery night this Thursday. Staff's worked really hard, as well as everyone, to get the building ready to host parents to come in and see our students out there. So I just want to say Mesa's open 6 to 8 Thursday.
Thank you. Thank you. MB.
You have a quiet voice, Sherry. I didn't hear you.
Oh, I didn't realize it was that quiet. Deb, you want to start the time over again, please?
It started.
Yeah,
Oh.
You mean I should already be talking?
You're losing 15
All right.
seconds of your time. I will let you have it though.
I have two things. I hope that the board pays close attention to things that were said tonight. Because you know, there's a lot of unhappiness and a lot of really serious feelings in our community. And I think they're hurting our kids and they're hurting our teachers. And while it takes some big hoopla to bring a lot of people out, I wish you guys would come more often, more regularly, and then you could talk more to the board, perhaps, I don't know. Please pay attention to what they said, please. And the other thing I want to say is that Mr. Swanson was not able to say this in his report about Mesa, but I read through their the entire report that was available to me as a citizen on the board packet. And throughout the tumultuous year that Mesa has had, there's not been one teacher resigned. And I think that speaks to the family culture that is felt at Mesa. And I think that's a really good thing among the other bad things, but please don't forget the other things you've been told tonight. They're very, really, really serious.
Thank you, MB. Yeah, let's wait till you get your time up. Okay, you're ready.
Hello, I'm Janet Hubb, and I'm a resident of Montezuma County with children in the district. And I want to talk about the assembly and the religious event that was held at the middle school on 420. The assembly was held during instructional time, and as you all know, the LGBTQ group is not allowed to meet anymore because you guys changed the lunchtime into instructional time. Even that the lady right there said that CD isn't allowed. So that's not allowed to happen. So anyways, back to my point. The assembly may not have been religious in nature, or overtly religious, but it was a thinly veiled attempt to invite hundreds of students along with unsolicited to attend an evening's religious event with promises of fun, food, and prizes. I believe that the goal of all of this was to usurp the parental rights by not notifying and denying the parents the opportunity to decide if they wanted their children exposed to religion or not, to lure minor children with the ultimate goal of converting minor children to religion, specifically Christianity, at the public school where they attend. While this type of event might be legal, it's unethical and predatory because it could potentially put a wedge between parents and their kids because not all parents were notified as to the nature of this event held at the public school. So they were not able to give their informed consent because permission slips have been the standard operating procedure for this district for almost every event. And like the LGBTQ lunch club, you guys made everybody jump through hoops. You're like, oh, they have to sign permission slips. Oh, they have to go into the building, blah, 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 blah. And yet this event went on without any parental notification. This is a complete double standard. And why was it allowed to happen? Why are some kids getting preferential treatment? Or some kids are allowed to practice their religion in school when LGBTQ kids can't have a club and a safe place for them to be is completely ridiculous and it's unacceptable. And this is the same school where the principal, Drew Pearson, went around and told the teachers in the middle school that they could no longer show signs of support for the LGBTQIA students. And it seems that you all on the board can't make the connection between the students and the parents and the teachers and everyone leaving the district and sending their kids to other places because of the choices and the decisions that you have made that are selfish, and you do them for yourself. You don't do them for the children. Because if you did, you would be making completely different choices. And I know you know this. You guys need to start like pull out, get all the freaking wax out your ears. And listen to the people that are talking.
Thank you. Just a point of reference, we cannot respond to anything you said, but understand we have heard. Okay, personnel consent calendar action item. Do I hear a motion for that?
I'll make a motion to accept the personnel consent calendar.
Second. Motion made by Cody, seconded by Lindra.
Jeanette,
Lindra, he raised his hand before anybody else said
Okay.
anything.
I stand correct.
I did not hear him either, sorry.
No, he raised his hand. He did not say it aloud. Any discussion on this? Okay, let's call for the question.
Online voting is now available. President Noyes, are you able to vote?
No, but I vote yes.
Thank you. Motion passes unanimously.
Next, MCHS choir field trip to New York City, New York in 2024.
Recommend that the board approve the Montezuma-Cortez High School choir field trip to New York City, New York in 2024.
I hear a motion for this.
So moved. Second.
Motion made by Mr. Rice, seconded by Mr. Wells. Any discussion? I just want to say it's a great honor for her to receive this invitation.
That's a public one, right? No, it's not. Maybe explain what was happening.
Oh, you missed that. You missed
I've seen it. I gotta see it, but I know a lot.
Well, no,
things.
she has been invited personally to conduct in New York, and she's able to take a few students
At the Carnegie Hall.
at the Carnegie Hall.
Yes.
This is a great, great honor.
I wanted to make sure it was mentioned. That's where she's going, what she's.
Oh, okay. I thought.
I heard it. I remember being super excited at that meeting.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Any more discussion? Okay, let's call for the question.
Online voting is now available. President Wright, how do you vote?
President,
Yes.
you mean noise?
Motion passes unanimously.
Beach Street Preschool logo and mascot. Bobcat.
Madam President, we recommend the board approve that Beach Street Preschool adopt the new Bobcat logo and mascot as presented at the last work session.
Hear a motion for this?
Make a motion for that. Mascot.
Second,
Second.
motion made by Mr. Wall, seconded by Mr. Rice. Any discussion? Thank you for bringing that to us.
Do we have an idea what the logo is gonna look like?
A baby Bobcat.
I think I just-
Oh.
So, yeah.
Are you gonna bring us shirts and hats and?
KNR is the people that make our shirt. And she sent me a sample logo,
Oh, good.
so. I kind of like the one up there better, but
Oh,
I'm
that's
gonna
good.
let my staff decide it.
Thank you.
Oh, that is cute. I agree with you. I like the other one better.
Yeah, I like it. Thank you, guys.
Any more discussion? Call for the question.
Online voting is now available. President Noyes, how do you vote?
Aye.
Thank you.
It's really cute, Miss Noyes. Oh, we're going to email it to you.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
Ms. Hart, did you?
It didn't come up on mine.
How do you vote?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
okay, contract with Marley A. Hart for Medicaid for $19,200.
Yes, ma'am. We recommend that the board approve the contract for Medicaid billing with Marley A. Hart, costing approximately $19,200. In your board packet, you have additional Medicaid explanation of the reimbursement rate. And we were over 350,000 this year in Medicaid reimbursement.
Oh, wow. Wow. Do I hear a motion to accept this?
I'll make a motion to accept the contract with Marley Hart.
Motion made by Mr. Wells, seconded by Ms. Hart. Any discussion? For the question.
Online voting is now available. How do you vote, President Noyes?
Aye.
Thank you. Vote, Ms. Hart.
Okay.
Wait, it's recorded Jeanette wrong. Okay. Motion passes unanimously.
MCMS HVAC installation.
We received late today the preliminary proposal. Been working with our engineer, Weston Sullivan. We'd ask that we table and move to the next work session meeting for action. This will allow the district to negotiate on the 9 different bid lots that are involved in this
Oh, my.
project.
Do we need to vote to table it, Mr. Rice? No? Okay, we'll table it to our next work session, which will be in June.
So recommendations, no action at this time.
Salary schedule 23-24.
I'll make a vote.
No, we need to wait.
Apologize. We recommend that the board approve the proposed salary schedule as presented today by our executive HR director for the 23-24 school year.
Okay,
I'll make the motion to approve the salary schedule.
Second it.
moved by Mr. Wells, seconded by Ms. Hart. Just for those in the audience, the first step for a BA is 40,000. So we have increased it substantially, and hopefully we can keep on raising it. Any discussion?
No, I just gotta say, I'm very excited that, I think this has been in the works for a long time. And it's very exciting to see that we're finally able to do this. So, and I hope we keep gaining momentum in this area too. And here, you guys have been here for a long time seeing this work happening. So thank you.
You've been working on it ever since you began, but I appreciate it.
But
I would like to address the coaching stipends at some point before the first of the next school year, and possibly making to that. We have adjusted some of the columns, but like Mr. Watkins had mentioned, those payments have not been increased this year or last.
Okay.
So we need to look at them. Great, thank you. I appreciate that. You'll work with Melissa to get it going. Thank you. Any more discussion? Okay, call for the question.
Online voting is now available. How do you vote, President Noyes?
Aye.
Thank you. Ms. Hart? Motion passes unanimously.
Next, SWO's easy pilot application.
Yes, ma'am. Madam President, you heard today from CDE in reference to Southwest Open School Empowering Action for School Improvement Redesign Pilot Project. And the administration recommends the board approve.
And this is a grant, correct?
Yes. And this will be a signature paid by the board approving the submission of the grant.
Okay. Anything there for sustainability?
Most grants, are when the grant ends, hopefully the learned lessons and what's been implemented in the processes is embedded and taken hold to continue. So that's the desire and hope for SWOS.
Right. Do I hear a motion for this?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Rice, second by Mr. Wells. Any more discussion?
Online question is now available. How do you vote, President Noyes?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes unanimously.
Policy first reading. Looks like it's all the ayes. Is that correct?
There is more than that there. If you scroll down.
Oh,
are some sections of J.
Section 2 of J. Okay.
Okay.
But this is a consent list.
Okay. And this is basically first reading, but this is where we're just reviewing what we already have in place. Is that correct?
Basically, this is to catch us up where CASB, we adopted their policy and we had maybe a sentence or something that we had added over time and we're just putting it back where it was. So this is to get us back to our intention.
I hear a motion for first reading.
I have a few things on there first.
Well, we make the motion to first and then since it's under action.
So moved then.
Okay, I hear a motion to, do I hear a second?
Do we need a motion for a first reading?
It's under action. I didn't think so, but it's under action.
No, we don't need one.
Okay, so we're just going to discuss it then.
For
Okay,
first reading,
go
yeah.
ahead, Mr. Rice.
So IHAQ uses the word vocational career,
They use what?
vocational.
Vocational.
IHBG is about homeschooling. I think there's a lot of pretty unrealistic stuff in there. We probably ought to look more at that one. IKFE 3 is about credits. And it shows like 3 credits for almost everything except art, and art only had 2 required. I don't know why that would be. And then JKBA. So a notice to parents should be sent out as soon as practical. That's a pretty vague term, I think, to add in there. As soon as practical. And then there's a lot of school nurse policies in there, and I just want to make sure that Jacqueline's being included on those stuff.
And there were edits made by Ms. Hall.
Is there?
Okay.
That's all I had on.
Anybody else?
I should note that 2 of these policies, so I can't tell you the numbers off the top of my head, came from the special policy update from CASB, and they're legally required to be enforced by July 1st.
That's the
That is the,
GCL something ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the
They're marked on your.
medical people in the building.
Yeah. They're highlighted in there. It says SPU.
Yeah. Okay, any more on first reading? Okay, I for policy second reading.
This is a second reading and administration recommends the board approve for second reading. The MCS School District RE-1 policy consent list of April 18, 2023, and a single revision to policy GBGG previously approved in April.
GBGG for what?
Deals with staff sick leave and bereavement leave, and that just recently approved in April had changed on page 1, changing a number from 4 to 3 to match the staff handbook.
Do I hear a motion for this?
So moved.
Second,
Also,
Linda, motion made by Mr. Rice, seconded by Mr. Wah. Any more discussion?
Online voting is now available. How do you vote, President Noyes?
Gary, are you there?
Oh, I'm sorry, yes, aye.
Thank you.
Sorry. Ms. Wright.
Oh, I punched it, it just didn't click.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, is there anything else to come before this meeting? Then we're going to adjourn. We will reconvene for a work session June 5th, 6th.
What time do you have?
And there is the DAC meeting set up for May 30th, and that agenda will go out tomorrow.
And you'll go out
It's
tomorrow.
listed as a special meeting, just so that we can have a collaboration time with DAC.
Fantastic. So DAC meeting, May 30th at 6 o'clock.
Yes, ma'am.
Please be there. We need to get things worked out. Meeting is adjourned at 8:36.